guys, so today I'm here to do my monthly recommendations of the month of January, and this month's theme is my favourite first books in a series, so I'm excited to talk about this. I've got 5 books to mention, and I'm only talking about books where I've actually read the other books in the series, or at least book 2, because it's hard to say that it's your favourite first book when you actually haven't read the second book yet, so you can't really compare yet. So these are all books that I just enjoyed the first book so much, but there's only 5 books to show you, so I'm excited. The first book I'd like to talk about is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I absolutely loved this book. It was like my favourite book in 2015, and I love it so much. I really feel like I should just reread it because it's an amazing book. But when I read Rose and the Dagger, I was a bit underwhelmed by the story, and I still liked it, but just not as much as the first book. But I'd say it didn't wow me as much because I was already in the story and I was already obsessed with it. So maybe because it just sort of continued on and nothing really big happened, that could have been an issue. But really, I love the story and how it's 1001 Nights retelling, and it's a really great book and something that so many people really should read. So definitely recommend this as a good first book in a series because it was amazing. The next book I'd like to recommend is The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson, and the reason I'm recommending this book is because nothing else shocked me as much as this first book. Like, the rest of the series was still good, but just the whole concept of this book and the conclusion and the idea and just the messed up in my brainness that I experienced made this my favourite book in the trilogy. So I still really loved the second and the third book. They were done really well, but just for the fact of what this book brought me in pain and happiness, made it definitely the best book in this trilogy. And like, some people have a hard time with this book just because what happens in it and the multiple POVs and not really knowing who is who, but I still think it's a really interesting concept. I really love the story, and just it's a very angsty book. Gave me a lot of pleasure, but still very angsty. Great first book though, and I definitely recommend. The next book I'd like to recommend is The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. I definitely preferred the first book over the second one. I think I may have read the second book at a really weird time of my life though. I think I was in sort of a reading slump, but I just kept pushing through it. So the second book I just didn't connect with it at all, and I kind of hated what happened to one of the main characters. So this book, when I first picked it up, I really enjoyed the magic system, like this whole battle that happened between them. It sort of reminded me of The Night Circus a little bit, which was really nice and brought a bit of nostalgia to me because I love that book so much. But I really recommend this book because it's a really cool idea. It's very Russian, and I really liked that because a lot of Russianness is very good in books, because there's not that many Russian books out there, or there probably is, but I haven't read them. But definitely loved the magic and the different ways that it was done and the challenges. But definitely just the second book wasn't my favourite, but I still recommend you to pick it up because just for me it was more of a personal not right time to read the book. So really it was still a good book, but probably you would like it more if you read this series, but just for me it didn't work. The next book I'd like to recommend is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Malascalo. Nothing is going to get past this first book because it was the first book I got introduced to Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell and the ideas of the book and how gory and slaughtery it is. And even though Hunting Prince Dracula was a really good book, probably could top this one, I'm going to experience the world like I did in the first book again, and it was just amazing. I highly recommend this, but if you don't like murder and gore and criminal cases, this is so not your book. But if you do, pick it up because not many people have actually read this book, and it makes me sad. So more people need to read Stalking Jack the Ripper and enjoy it, but definitely it's an amazing first book and it's very small, so it's easy to get through. Okay, and the last book I'd like to recommend today is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I feel like everyone and their mother has read this book, but I'm still going to recommend it because it's an amazing book. You got so many amazing characters, and even though book 2 was really great, it felt just like a continuation. Like, the whole 2 books could have just been one book for me, and I still would have loved it all the same. But just this first book again, it's really the first time you're going to get introduced to all these characters, and you're not going to experience them for the first time again. And oh, I love it so much, and just they're all so unique and exciting and fun, and I'm just so glad that I finally picked up this duology and finished it and loved it. And this was my second favourite book of last year, so I definitely think you should read it because if you like my reading taste, you'll probably like this as well. So these are all the first books in a series I'd like to recommend because they're all amazing and like my favourite things ever. But anyway guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!